The night shift at Mercy General was supposed to be quiet. Fewer patients, dimmer lights, and the steady hum of machines that usually lull the halls into calm. But for one rookie nurse, that calm shattered within minutes. Her name barely known, her badge still shiny and new. She suddenly found herself at the center of chaos as alarms rang, stretchers rolled in, and lives began slipping through fragile seconds. In just 1 hour, 7 patients crashed, heart failures, severe reactions, sudden complications no one saw coming. While senior staff rushed from room to room, it was the rookie nurse who kept moving, thinking fast, trusting her instincts. She caught small signs others missed, made split-second decisions, and refused to freeze when it mattered most. Doctors later said that without her actions, those 7 lives would have been lost before sunrise. Word spread quickly through the hospital. Who was this nurse? How did so-and-so new stay so calm under that kind of pressure? Some called it talent. Others whispered luck. But there was something in her eyes that suggested this wasn't her first time facing fear. Just as the sun began to rise and the emergency finally slowed, 2 unfamiliar figures walked into the ward. Dark suits, serious faces. They didn't ask about the patients. They asked for her by name. When they showed their badges and said they were from the FBI, the room fell silent. What part of her past made federal agents show up after a single shift? And was the night of heroism only the beginning of a much bigger story? The rookie nurse felt every eye turn toward her as the agents waited. She gently set down the chart in her hands, her fingers trembling just enough to notice. Around her, the hospital returned to its normal rhythm, but the tension hung thick in the air. One of the doctors stepped forward, asking if there was a mistake. The agents only repeated her name, calm and firm, as if they had rehearsed it, as she walked with them down the hallway. Memories she had tried to bury began to surface. Long before she wore scrubs, before she learned to steady her breathing in emergencies, her life had been shaped by places most people never see. She had grown up moving from city to city, changing schools, learning early how to stay quiet and observe. Survival wasn't a lesson taught in classrooms for her. It was learned through watching, listening, and adapting. The agents didn't handcuff her. They didn't accuse her. That somehow made it worse. They asked about her training, her mentors, and where she learned to recognize rare medical signs so quickly. Each question felt harmless on the surface, yet carried a weight that made her chest tighten. She answered carefully, choosing words the same way she chose actions during the emergency crisis and controlled. Back in the ward, whispers spread among the staff. Some wondered if the lives she saved had triggered a deeper review. Others feared there was something dangerous about her past. The truth sat quietly between her and the agents, unspoken, pressing harder with every step as they reached a private room and the door closed behind them. One agent leaned forward and said, "We believe what happened tonight wasn't a coincidence." And in that moment, she realized her past had finally found her. Inside the quiet room, the hum of the hospital felt distant, almost unreal. The agents sat across from her, their questions slowing down, becoming more careful. They spoke about patterns, medical emergencies that lined up too neatly, response times that matched training few people ever received. She listened, her face calm while her mind raced. She had come to this hospital to heal, not to be analyzed like a case file. From the hallway, a senior nurse watched through the glass, torn between pride and worry. She had seen talent before, but never this kind of focus from someone so new. Part of her wanted to defend the rookie nurse, to tell everyone that courage doesn't need years of experience. Another part wondered what kind of past could sharpen instincts that fast. The doctors who had worked beside her replayed the night in their heads. One remembered how she stopped him just before a fatal mistake, pointing out a symptom he had overlooked. Another recalled the way she spoke to a patient in panic, grounding them when even medication couldn't. These moments didn't feel accidental, they felt learned. The agents shifted the conversation to her background checks, 2 records that seemed incomplete, gaps in time, references who couldn't be reached. Not red flags, they said, but unanswered questions. She explained what she could, careful not to say too much. Some stories were safer left untouched. Outside the room, hospital staff whispered theories. Hero risk, secret asset. The word investigation spread fast, changing how people looked at her. Yet inside, the real pressure came from what the agents didn't say. They weren't here to arrest her. They were here to understand her. And as one agent quietly mentioned that other hospitals had reported similar unexplained saves, she realized this wasn't about one night, it was about a pattern. She could no longer hide. The room felt smaller with every passing minute. The agents exchanged glances, then slid a thin folder across the table. Inside were dates, hospitals, and emergency reports that mirrored the chaos of that night. Different cities, different names, the same outcome lived saved against impossible odds. Her heartbeat quickened, though she kept her voice steady. She had hoped those chapters were closed, buried under years of training and a new identity built on helping others. Down the hall, a code blue suddenly echoed through the speakers. The sound cut through the tension like a blade. Instinctively, she stood up, asking to go. One agent hesitated, then nodded. As she ran back into the ward, doctors and nurses followed, unsure whether to trust her or fear the attention she now carried. The emergency unfolded fast, and once again, she moved with calm precision, guiding hands, calling out steps, refusing to let panic win. The agents watched from a distance as the patient stabilized. They didn't interrupt. They took notes. What they saw only deepened their concern and their curiosity. This wasn't luck. It wasn't coincidence. It was skill shaped by something far beyond a standard nursing program. Later, as the patient was wheeled away, one agent quietly spoke to the charge nurse, asking about her behavior under pressure. Another made a call, his voice low, mentioning the word clearance. When she returned to the quiet room, sweat on her brow, she sensed the shift immediately. The questions stopped being about the past and started hinting at the future. Not accusations, but possibilities. Opportunities wrapped in caution. One agent leaned forward and said, "There's more at stake than this hospital realizes." As sirens echoed outside and the sun fully rose, she understood the choice ahead of her would change more than her career. It could expose everything she had been trying to protect. The choice she thought she had was suddenly taken away. Before she could respond, the hospital doors burst open, and a new wave of emergencies rolled in from a nearby highway accident. Stretchers lined the entrance, voices overlapped, and the fragile calm of morning disappeared. The agents stepped aside, but they didn't leave. They stayed close, watching as the hospital shifted into full emergency mode. As she worked through the chaos, her phone vibrated in her pocket, a number she didn't recognize. She ignored it at first, then it rang again. When she finally glanced at the screen, a single message appeared. Asterisk, they're watching you. Don't say anything. Asterisk, her breath caught. The FBI wasn't the only one paying attention. One of the doctors pulled her aside, whispering that hospital administration had been alerted. Records were being reviewed, credentials double-checked. Every move she made now felt heavier, like it could tip the balance in ways she couldn't control. Still, patients needed her, and she refused to step back. From across the room, an agent noticed the change in her expression. He asked if something was wrong. She shook her head, but her mind raced. Who sent that message? How did they know the FBI was here? And why warn her now? As paramedics rushed in, another critical patient, she recognized a detail that made her stomach drop: a medical bracelet tied to a past she never spoke about. Someone from her old life was here, bleeding and unconscious, carried into the same hospital she thought would keep her safe. The agent followed her gaze and narrowed his eyes. "Do you know this patient?" he asked quietly. She didn't answer. Outside, police lights flashed. Inside, monitors beeped faster, and the walls seemed to close in. Whatever she had been running from had finally caught up with her, and this time, there was no place left to hide. The moment came fast. The patient with the bracelet crashed, and the room snapped into motion. She didn't hesitate. She took the lead, calling out steps, guiding the team through a narrow window where seconds mattered more than titles. The agents watched as she worked, recognizing the same controlled urgency they'd seen in old reports. When the patient stabilized, the room exhaled as one. Back in the quiet room, she finally told the truth. Years ago, after surviving a mass casualty disaster as a teenager, she had been selected for a federal emergency response program designed to train civilians to act under extreme pressure. No weapons, no secrets meant to harm, just medical instincts sharpened where chaos was constant. The records were sealed to protect the people involved, including her. The FBI hadn't come to arrest her, they came to confirm she was real. The hospital administration was briefed. The whispers stopped. The agents closed their folders. One of them thanked her quietly for choosing a life that saved people instead. "Oh,